Good evening, this is BelGeode and we are back with some more X-Plane 11. Welcome to scenic Beaver County, Pennsylvania, home of the Beaver County Airport. And tonight we're going to be taking a tour of Pennsylvania airports in this bad boy right here. This is the long-awaited Dreamfoil Creations Bell 407 version 1.01. It's hot off the presses and proves yet again that Dreamfoil is one of the best when it comes to making helicopters. Now before we go any further, I feel I should let you know that this is not one of the stock helicopters that will come with the package when you purchase the package. And by the way, if you are an existing user of the Bell 407, you can get an upgrade for cheap. But yeah, I modified this one for my own usage. Alright, so I will tell you a little bit more about the airport that we are in, but first, let's go ahead and have Bitch and Betty help us with a startup.
Tie downs and caps.
Okay, now the first thing that we're going to want to do is get rid of the tie downs and caps, which is a menu item.
Remove. Seats belts.
So what we'll do is we'll just say that that's been acknowledged, and I'm going to pull up the little menu right here. Just click on the upper right corner of the console, go to Customize, there's an external menu, and pretty close to the bottom, remove ties and caps. There we go. Okay, let's verify that everything has been removed, and you will notice it is quite gusty out today, so you'll see the rotor blades shimmying and shaking on their own.
Secure.
Alright.
Altimeter.
Altimeter. Okay. I happen to know this airport is about 1248 feet above sea level, so I'm just going to set it right here. We'll get a more accurate reading once we actually get the avionics on.
Instruments.
Instruments are currently static, so we'll check that off.
Static. Circuit breakers.
Incidentally, the circuit breakers all work in this thing.
In. Overhead switches.
Those all look off to me.
Off. Landing lights. Off.
Okay, landing lights. Yep,
Avionics.
that's off.
Off.
Avionics
Battery
is off.
switch.
Alright, let's turn on the old battery.
On.
And I kind of expected
Hydraulic
that.
switch.
Okay, so to turn that off, we are going to need to push the horn mute. There we go. Alright, what were you saying there, Betty? You want hydraulic switch? Okay, we'll go ahead and flip that on. And I have to manually click that.
On. Anti-collision lights.
Oh, that's an easy one. It's right next to the hydraulic switch.
On. Pedal stop.
Okay, now the pedal stop is a little bit trickier. That is down here off to the right. I'm just going to click it off and click it back on to make sure it's working. And we'll check it.
Check. Caution/warning lights.
Ah, my favorite part. Testing the caution and warning lights. Look at this. Light up like a Christmas
Test.
tree. Nice.
Instrument check button.
Okay, instrument check. Yep, that gauge does what it's supposed to do.
Test. LCD test button.
LCD test. Yep. And of course the horn comes on again.
Left/right fuel boost/XFR.
Every time she says that, I crack up. She's talking about the fuel transfers and the fuel boost pumps, so we'll go ahead and flick those on there.
On. FADEC horn test.
Okay, the FADEC horn test. Yep, looks like it's working to me. So we'll check that.
Press. FADEC mode switch.
FADEC mode switch is at the very bottom. It says auto. I'm going to click it to manual and then back to auto.
Auto. Fuel valve.
Fuel valve.
On.
Self-explanatory.
Fuel pressure.
Okay, we do have pressure.
Check. Fuel quantity.
And we do have fuel. Okay.
Check. Collective.
It's another one of those pretty self-explanatory things. The collective is down. This is true.
Fold down. Cyclic trim.
I still don't
Center.
know why she asked for
Cyclic
cyclic trim twice, but I'm
Center.
just going to let her do it.
Rotor area.
Alright, the all-important rotor area. Everybody get the hell away from my helicopter. I'm about to start this damn thing. Matter of fact, let me close the door. All better now. We'll check it off.
Clear. Voltage.
Okay, now here is an interesting thing. The voltage always seems to be around 23. The checklist asks for 24, so we're going to need to activate the GPU.
24.
And there we go.
Throttle_up.
Now we've got 24. Alright, throttle, we'll pull you up.
Full.
There we go.
Throttle_DN.
Throttle pull back down.
Back to idle. Start
And
switch.
now it's time to go ahead and kick the tires and light the fires. Or something like that.
Engage.
The helicopter version.
Rotor.
Okay, rotor's turning.
Turning by 25% NG. GPU.
Good deal. Okay, so now we can go ahead and get rid of the GPU. We don't need it anymore.
Remove
There we
it
go.
active. Generator.
Generator, we will turn you on.
On.
Alright, we're ready for the next page.
Control frictions.
Yep, cyclic friction's off.
Off.
Okay,
Hydraulic
this is the
switch.
hydraulic switch test.
Off.
Yep, it's
Hydraulic
definitely
switch.
off.
On.
Okay, it's back on.
FADEC mode switch.
And we'll check the FADEC one more time. Okay, good to go.
Manual.
Next page.
Check, then auto. Flight controls.
Flight controls are free, Betty.
Free. Avionics switch.
Okay, we'll turn the avionics on. And got a little bit of a stutter here. Whoops.
Flight instrumentation.
Okay, flight instrumentation switches. Here we go.
All on. Particle separator.
Particle separator we do not need.
As required. Position lights.
Position lights, we'll go ahead and grab
As
that.
required. Instrument
Okay,
lights.
I always fly with instrument lights unless it's like broad daylight, so I'm going to pull those up.
As required.
Alright, and she's going to go through her whole
CLM
radio
light.
checks. We're going to take this time to start up the GPS
CLM
real quick here.
On and set.
Now this has changed.
Yeah.
It used to be that the GPS would always be on when you flip the avionics switch, but he did modify that, it looks like. What did she ask me?
On and
ADF?
set.
Yeah, that's on.
NAV1. On and set.
Okay,
NAV2.
she's going to ask for the
On
NAV1, the
inset.
NAV2, the transponder.
Transponder.
We'll go ahead and flip the transponder on, put it in standby mode.
Set in SBY. Anti-ice.
Okay. So now that she's asking for the anti-ice, I'm going to take this time to go ahead and put our flight plan in. So as you can see, we're not going to Key West. That's a little too far for us today. So let me see if I can pull up. I think it's the little knob here. Yep, there it is. Okay, so we want KBVI to KFWQ. So that's Beaver County to Rostraver. That one right there. Okay, and let's just check the map real quick. Speaking of which, how about we cut to SkyVector, and I will show you what we're going to be doing today. The objective of tonight's episode is I wanted to show off airports created by viewers just like you. A few weeks ago, I was approached by Bennnym about his Beaver County airport, which is available on the org site. That just happens to be this airport that we are at right now. When we take off, I'm going to show you a little bit of his handiwork, which I did have to tweak a little bit in order for it to fit properly with Ortho for XP. Now, after we're done here, we're going to be heading east to Zelienople, which you'll remember is an airport I created. I've also been tweaking that, and I'm planning on putting it to the org site at some point in time soon. After we're done at Zelia, we're going to continue heading east, and we're going to check out not one, but two airports created by viewer Matt Schultz. Matt did an amazing job syncing everything up to Ortho for XP, and I can't wait to show you both Butler County Airport and Pittsburgh Northeast Airport. He doesn't yet have them available on the org site, but when he does, you'll be the first to know. And then finally, we're going to bring it all home to an airport that you've seen many, many times on this channel. This is my Rostraver Airport, and that's where we're going to be calling it quits tonight. Okay, so now we know what we're going to do, and I guess we can probably finish up the checklist here. Okay, so I believe we were at anti-ice, which we will not be using for this particular flight. It should be warm enough.
Pitot heat.
Pitot heat, however, we will turn on.
As required. Cyclic
Okay,
centering
that
light.
could be a problem. The cyclic centering light is not going off, but we're going to check it off anyway, and I'll explain why it's not going off in a second here.
Verify off.
And of course she wants us to work on the SHE, or HSI as the rest of us know it, so we'll go ahead and cage that. Here we go.
Cage.
Okay, so we are done with that page.
Transponder.
Alright, transponder is on.
Landing lights.
Landing lights, we'll go ahead and flick that on. That's on the
As
collective.
required. Instrument lights.
Instrument lights are on.
As required.
We're not
Air
worried about
conditioning and
AC
cabin
or
heat.
cabin heat.
As required.
Throttle can
Throttle.
go up.
Full/fly. NP
Okay,
and
so
NR
we're just going to wait
100%.
for the needles to get close to 100%, and then I will have to manually check that off. The reason why the cyclic centering light keeps coming on and off is because of the gusts of wind blowing around here. So we'll deal with that in a moment here. Okay, NP and NR look in the right position here, so we'll check that off.
Check. Caution/warning panel.
Yeah, she's going to want us to acknowledge the caution and warning panel lights. The check instrument lights and the cyclic centering lights we're going to have problems with. Damn, I should have put on that headset a while ago. Alright, well we're basically done with the checklist, so I'll go ahead and turn that off for now. We're not quite ready to take off just yet. There's still one more thing I want to show you, but first let me take a quick look outside, make sure everything's kosher. Alright, everything looks good to me. So, yes, not much we're going to be able to do about those two lights, so we'll just deal with them as they go. Okay, first thing I want to do is I want to make sure we get an accurate read of the weather, so 118.35 is what I've tuned in. We'll make it active.
KBVI, Beaver County Airport Information, Quebec. 1600 Zulu weather. Wind 310 at 7, gust 14. Visibility more than 10. Rain. Sky conditions 8,000 broken, 10,000 overcast. Temperature 11, dew point 3. Altimeter 2981. Arriving runway 28, departing runway 28. Advise on initial contact, you have Quebec.
Okay, 29.81 is what we're looking for. There it is. Alright, good to go. Now, since we are going to Zelienople, and Zelienople is not that far away, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tune that in now, and we're going to listen to the weather for Zelienople to see if there's a bit of a difference. So we'll make it active.
Zelienople Muni Information, Quebec. 1600 Zulu weather. Wind 300 at 5, visibility more than 10. Sky conditions 6400 overcast, temperature 11, dew point 3. Altimeter 2982. Arriving runway 35, departing runway 35. Advise on initial contact, you have Quebec.
See, it's a good thing I listened to that weather brief because there's a 1-point difference in the barometric pressure between here and Zeli. So I'll have to remember to change that when we get closer to Zeli. Now the very last thing I want to show you before we take off is the brand new SAS system. Some might call this a cheat. However, considering the fact that it's blustery and gusty out there, we will need this. So I'm going to go ahead and engage the SAS. You'll notice the cyclic moves a little bit, and it's a hell of a lot more stable. We'll also take a look at some of the other autopilot functions after we take off. But for now, let's dust off and take a look at Bennym's handiwork with this gorgeous Beaver County airport he's created. Nothing to the right, nothing to the left. Okay, here we go. And already the wind is having an influence, but we can deal with that. Now I'm going to switch to an outside view so you can get a better look at this airport. Just remember, this one is available on the org site for free. So what are some of the changes that I made to Bennem's Beaver County? Well, for starters, you're looking at two of them right below. The real airport does have an Air Heritage Museum, which does have an F4 and an F-15 there. Overall, though, I would say that Bennnym did a pretty good job on this airport. And this is actually one of those airports where you can get real-life flight training. Okay, so we are going to be heading over to Zelienople, which, as I mentioned, is one of the airports that I have made. And I've been making some adjustments to it. One of the things that you might have noticed on the airport that we just passed is the fact that the ground texture is not ortho. The reason for that is it doesn't exactly match up to the ortho for XP scenery that is below it. So I had to kind of improvise a little bit. And I had to do that with Zelia as well because I still haven't been able to get it matched up properly, and you'll see that momentarily. But for now, we've got the autopilot kicked in, and I'm going to get a little bit of altitude here. Let's see, I think we can bring it up to about 2,000 feet off the deck. And then we'll kick in the autopilot altitude hold and go for a little cruise around Beaver County on our way to Butler County. As you can see, it's not a very pleasant day today. The wind is still kicking my butt, but thank goodness for SAS. I gotta say, I really like the addition of SAS to this aircraft. This is amazing. It makes a world of difference, especially after flying the X-Trident Bell 412. Yeah, coming into the 407 and having an SAS in here, perfect. Well done, Dreamfoil. Okay, so we are passing the Beaver River right now, and we should be at Zelia in a moment. As we make our way through Beaver County on autopilot, I just kind of want to go to the back seat here and give you a passenger's eye view. And I also want to take a quick moment to give a very special shout out to a viewer and fellow YouTuber that's been pumping up my ego for like the last few weeks. This shout out goes to GorillaMe. Go and like his channel. He could definitely use some more subs, and he's got one of the best personalities I've seen in any of the YouTubers that I follow. Okay, back to business. Off in the distance you can see the flashing beacon of Zelienople Airport. It is approximately 4.1 nautical miles dead ahead of us. Now, even though we did check the weather back at Beaver County, I'm going to go ahead and play the weather again so that way I can set my altimeter if there's any difference.
Zelienople Muni Information Quebec. 1600 Zulu weather. Wind 300 at 5, visibility more than 10. Sky conditions 6400 overcast, temperature 11, dew point 3. Altimeter 2982. Arriving runway 35, departing runway 35. Advise on initial contact, you have Quebec.
So it doesn't look like the barometric pressure has changed much, it's still just 1 point off, which is fine. Okay, let's see. We are close enough that I think I can start peeling away pieces of the SAS here and bringing us in for a landing. And we'll take a look at some of the minor changes that I've made to Zelienople over the last few days. I will gladly say, in putting together this episode and seeing what other folks have done with their airports, it's really made me want to step up my game to make sure that, you know, my stuff is at least up to par here. Alright, I believe she said that we need to come in on runway 35, so let's see if we can basically do a circuit around the airport, and we're not actually going to land on the runway, but we will land on the compass rose. So no doubt you probably noticed the grass texture that I put underneath the airport. It's a little bit different than what I had. What I had was the taxiway, the grass taxiway texture under there. But the problem with that is X-Plane doesn't know how to sort out the AI traffic if you have more than one taxiway in the same exact location. So I decided to change it to what they call a draped polygon that basically just has this green texture underneath. Of course, the reason why I did that is because I still can't quite get it to match up properly with the ortho for XP that's underneath. Eventually, when I do, I'll probably just get rid of the grass texture altogether. But for now, you know, we just kind of deal with that. Alright, here we go. We're gonna bring it in. And another little point that I wanted to mention that most people don't consider whenever they come up with these little airports: where are the places for helicopters to land? By default, when people add parking spots, they don't think about the fact that helicopter flyers might want to come in here. So what I've done with any of the airports that I do is I always make sure that I have a helipad in there. And it just so happens with Zelia, this one is conveniently concealed by the lovely compass rose that I made in paint.net, aka Photoshop type program. Alright, so let's go ahead and bring her in, and we'll go outside because it's me and I gotta show you the outside landing. There we go. Perfect. Alright, so welcome to Zelia. You know, I really love Zelienople Airport. Aside from the fact that you can get real-life flight lessons here, you got the Mexican restaurant just across the street there. Alright, but let's go ahead and set up for Butler Airport, which is our next destination. Let's see, we need to be tracking 108. How about that? Right there, maybe? 106. So close, so close. Alright, drag it over a little. 111. Clearly that is too much. 107. You know what? That's probably as close as I'm going to get it, so I'm just going to leave it like that. Okay, that will work. We'll set our course knob as well. Okay, so we're pretty much set to go. I do want to get the weather for Butler, which I do have that frequency on the other page. It should be 121.45. Yeah, that's convenient. I only have to change one portion of this. All right.
Butler County KW Schultz Airfield Information Quebec 1600 Zulu weather. Wind 300 at 5, visibility more than 10, rain. Sky conditions 6000 overcast, temperature 11, dew point 3. Altimeter 2982. Arriving runway 26, departing runway 26. Advise on initial contact, you have Quebec.
Okay, we have Quebec, and it looks like we're going to come in to the west when we're landing. Alright, so we'll go ahead and zoom this out, and I'm going to get rid of the extra waypoints there. I kind of like to have it a little clean when I'm looking at it from the pilot's eye view here. Nothing to the right, nothing to the left. We're good to go. Let's go. So just like before, I am going to go ahead and click on the autopilot, and we're just going to travel this way. Now, yes, I do know, and I did mention before, that some people might consider this as cheating, but, you know, if real helicopters have this, I don't see why our virtual helicopters can't. Let's face it, when you have conditions like today where you know there's gusting winds, why wouldn't you want to have something assisting you, such as the SAS? I also mentioned that the next two airports that we're going to be looking at are by viewer Matt Schultz. Now, Matt has really impressed me. He has blown me away with the work that he's come up with. Not only did he come up with a pretty good representation of the airports that he did, but he's also managed to sync it up with the Ortho for XP, which is a little bit better than I've done so far. So yes, I have no problems showing you what he's done, and as soon as his work becomes available online, I will also update the links below in the video description so you can go get it. In working with Matt on Butler Airport, we actually stumbled upon a little shortcoming that X-Plane has. AI traffic will only be generated at an airport. In other words, they'll only land or take off if the airport has a control tower. Seems to make sense, right? But what about all of those FBOs that don't have an actual tower? Well, Matt and I figured out a way to have AI aircraft actually show up at those, and I'm going to explain that in a moment. Now, I will admit, it is quite a bit of an oversight for Laminar Research to not have AI traffic landing at airports that don't have control towers. I mean, FSX does that, provided, of course, you know, it's programmed in and scripted in and whatnot. But how I was able to make it work for Matt's Butler Airport is by creating a fake ATC frequency. Basically, I looked around at all the various frequencies in the area to try and find something that didn't clash with a particular frequency that's an actual valid frequency. And I used that as a fake frequency that you could tune in if you want to and you'll hear the traffic, but otherwise the average person that's following Sky Vector and so on won't even know that the frequency exists. But it's simply there for the purpose of directing AI traffic into and out of the airport. And let me just tell you, it works. So as soon as Matt has this airport ready for the general public, that's another little feature that you'll be getting that honestly, most of us users / developers haven't even thought of yet. Yeah, I'm going to come out and say it. This thing is a thing of beauty. I wish that I would have thought of doing it like this, because just the way that he's put this whole thing together is absolutely amazing. Of course, I did help him a little tiny bit with some of the stuff, mostly editing and organizing object lists, and I also gifted him the landing pad that I am about to set us down on right now. As I'm sure you've probably figured out just from watching this video, I happen to like compass roses, and I happen to love airports that still have compass roses. Unfortunately, Pittsburgh Butler Regional Airport, as this airport is now currently known, no longer has the beautiful compass rose that it had had for decades. However, I figured as a little bit of an artistic license, creative touch there, Matt would probably want to include the compass rose, since it does show up if you look at this airport on Google Earth. So I volunteered to do that little bit for him, and I think it actually came out pretty decent. So as always, that's our helipad. We won't be staying here long enough to get an in-depth look at the AI traffic coming in and out, but just to give you a few quick pointers, if you spawn some GA aircraft or some helicopters or so on, they will either spawn here at this airport or they will fly patterns around it and come in, so keep that in mind there. Alright, and welcome to Butler! Our next airport's going to be off the beaten path here, and that's going to be 9 Golf 1 or 9G1, which is Pittsburgh Northeast Airport. It's got a single runway. There's not a whole hell of a lot there. Of course, there's no tower. We do know, however, that it is at about 161 degrees, so I'm going to go ahead and set our course knob. And we'll put the heading knob to match. Is that 161? Yes, it is. Okay. Now before we go ahead and launch, I'll check the weather one more time. There is, of course, no weather station at Pittsburgh Northeast Airport, so we'll just use Butler.
Butler County KW Schulte Airfield Information Romeo. 1700 Zulu weather. Wind 300 at 5, visibility more than 10, rain. Sky conditions 6000 overcast, temperature 11, dew point 3. Altimeter 2982. Arriving runway 26, departing runway 26. Advise on initial contact, you have Romeo.
Okay, so we're up to information Romeo. Good deal. Alright folks, strap yourselves back in. We are about to head south to Pittsburgh Northeast. You know, that's one of the things that I love about flying helicopters over flying like GA or any other type of aircraft. We can pretty much pick it up whenever we want, wherever we want, put it down wherever we want, whenever we want, and we don't have to worry about, oh, is that Cessna going to smack into me as it's rolling down the runway. Beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. Okay, so I'm going to play along here, folks. As soon as I get us up to altitude, which I'm going to click us in right about here at 3,000 feet. Once we're stable for a little bit, I'm going to show you how this helicopter flies once you take the SAS completely off. Now, disclaimer, look outside. We have already established that the wind is kicking my butt here. So if this ends badly, don't blame me. But I do want to show you that there is a difference here. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off all the SAS features. Whoa, and all of a sudden we are in a bucking bronco here. Alright, okay, I'm exaggerating, and knowing myself, I probably put a bunch of pop-up comments that I'm sure probably have you laughing right now. But I say that with the caveat that I actually want to try it and see if I can keep us stable here. Whoa, okay, that's not it. That's not it. We really don't have too far to go, so as long as I can see the magenta line on the GPS below and to the left there, I think I can keep us pretty much on target. But yes, there is definitely a different feel with the SAS off. I'm not holding altitude nearly as well. My speed may tend to fluctuate. I'm having to make micro adjustments on the collective here, and of course the pedals, just to keep us going exactly where I would like us to go. There is a phenomenal difference. But I will say this, if you are a user of Dreamfoil's Bell 407 before the original version, you've already been using it without the SAS, and if you've become quite proficient with it, for example, I know GorillaMe is very proficient with this helicopter, then this should be no transition for you at all. It's absolutely perfect. SAS is just something that makes life a little bit easier. And I'm trying to zoom in here without actually pointing my nose too far down. But I'm pretty sure you get the point from what I'm attempting to do here. I'm trying to show you Pittsburgh Northeast Airport, which is, of course, directly ahead. So far, so good. We are a little bit over altitude. I wanted to stay around 3,000. Obviously, we're at about 3,150 right now, so I'm going to see if I can bring us down slightly here. Passing a few golf courses and whatnot in this neck of the woods. But yeah, we should be down probably in about 5 minutes or so. I'll probably do a little bit of video editing, however, to make time move along, because I do realize this video is getting a little long. You know, I don't think I'm doing all that bad right now. I'm actually starting to feel confident about this helo. So as long as I don't have any crazy maneuvers here, we should be good to go. And you can see the airport directly ahead. It's really not that far off. Now, truth be told, folks, I don't get to this part of southwestern PA that often. As a matter of fact, I wasn't even aware of this airport until Matt told me that he had designed it, and I figured I'd take a look at it. I just simply don't get to this side of southwestern PA all that often. But I'm really glad that he opened my eyes to it, because it is such a cute little hole-in-the-wall airport, and it's so close to the railroad tracks that you could see right down below. We got some choo-choos! I wasn't kidding, huh? There is not much to this place. That building off to the left is Management Science Associates. I have no idea what the heck they do, but that's what Google Maps tells me anyway. Alright, let's go ahead and see if we can turn around and we'll nominate a parking spot. Obviously, there's no compass rose at this airport, so I have no idea where we're going to land. But we'll sniff around here and see if we can find a good place to set her down. I'm guessing that blue building there, or blue roofed building, is probably the FBO. So it would be a safe bet to park like right behind this Cessna here. Oh, look at that. He's even got traffic cones there. That's neat. Huh. I wonder if that road is blocked off in real life. That is pretty cool. Okay, you know what? I nominate right here only because it could get really sketchy if I decide to park anywhere else. But I think here should be good enough. And welcome to Pittsburgh Northeast Airport. So we're having so much fun here, but unfortunately, all good things must come to an end. So we've got to get back to Rostraver. It's about 23 nautical miles away. We need to track about 190, but before we do anything else, we need to get the weather. Luckily, this is one station that I know by heart. So here we go. Rostraver weather, please.
Rostraver weather. Wind 280 at 10. Visibility more than 10. Sky conditions 6500 overcast, temperature 13, dew point 2. Altimeter 2978.
2978. Okay, we'll set that up real quick here. That's 2979. There we go, 2978.
Weather. Wind 280 at 10, visibility more than 10. Sky conditions 6500 overcast, temperature 13, dew point 2. Altimeter 2978.
Okay, so we know our barometric pressure, we know which direction we need to go. All we need to do now is back out of this nifty parking spot and get on our way. That is a neat little airport, I gotta say. So thank you very much to Matt for turning me on to that particular airport. I gotta say, I never would have even thought to look at it. But yeah, it's in a really nice spot too. It's very scenic over here. Love it. Absolutely love it. Look at the neighborhood there. Alright, so on our way back, we're going to use the SAS and the autopilot again. You can see I've already got the nav in, and I'm just going to get us some altitude here. We're going to bring it back up to probably about 2,000 or 3,000 feet thereabouts. And we'll kick in the full autopilot, and we'll do it mostly hands-free on our way home to Rostraver Airport. So buckle up, and let's go in the back and see how the passengers are seeing things. So now that I know about that little airport, I'm going to make it a point to try and see if I can find some of the smaller airports, little airstrips around the southwestern PA area that I can work on. Kind of like how I did those two little grass strips the other day. Well, I say the other day, but it's now months and months ago. But yeah, I kind of want to flesh out a few more of those little airports. You may have seen one that we overflew on our way to Butler earlier. The other little thing that I've been working on is tweaking my ortho for XP and how it interacts with things like W2 XP. You may notice right over there, we're just about ready to cross the Allegheny River, which is one of the 3 major rivers in this area. It still has the default X-plane watercolor. I got to admit, I'm not happy with that. I'm not happy with that at all. I know in real life this river is more greenish brown color, so I really want to bring that aspect of it out, so I'm going to have to play with ortho for XP. I've actually been experimenting with that, and right now the big problem that I have is the gritty texture that I put on the ortho photos to make them kind of pop, where grass looks like grass and gravel looks like gravel. It's currently extending also to the water, which is why I had to use masks to cut out the water so that the X-plane water will show through. But there has to be a way to fix that, and I'm going to find it. It's now a few minutes later, and we are getting closer to Rostraver. As you can see, we're about 7 miles out. I think what I'm going to do this time around is I want to pull up the approach, so I know we're going to need to travel to the west. So let's see, we got RNAV 26. We'll just run vectors. Okay, I'm used to those waypoints, OSAR, and I think there's another one further out. Yeah, that's the one, Furix. Okay, so let's see how this thing handles approaches. And I can tell right now it's going in the wrong direction. Okay, so I'm going to set it to OSAR. We'll see if it adjusts accordingly. You can take a look at the map there and see exactly what I'm looking at. Okay, right now it does not appear that it is tracking the proper approach, so we'll need to take it off nav, and I'm going to manually turn us around. You'll notice that I also have the altitude hold on, so that'll make life a little bit easier for me. Directly ahead should be Rostraver, that's the flashing beacon you're looking at, but I'm going to swing us around a little bit more to the east here and see if I can put us at least on a track for OSAR, and then we'll try the nav button again and see if that will help us to get on target. Alright, so a little bit more angle here. Should do the trick. You know, it's such a gloomy day out, but I don't know if I mentioned to you the fact that I'm running default weather right now. I am not using XEnviro or SkyMax Pro at the current time. I have both of those uninstalled. I will reinstall them at a later time. But yeah, this is all X-Plane's doing, and I must admit that it's looking rather good. I think they did a pretty decent job on this. Okay, we should be heading direct for OSAR. I'm debating whether or not I want to try the nav button now, or if I should just keep it manual. Let's try it. Let's give it a shot here and see what it does. Might want to pop open the GPS again here. Okay, are you going to stop pointing directly at it, or are you going to completely bypass it and head on your own way? Looks like it's going to completely bypass it and head on its own way. Alright, not a problem. So that is my only little problem that I have with this helicopter. Other than that, Dreamfoil's done a fabulous job, but knowing me, it's probably just user error. But be that as it may, I'm pretty sure we can salvage a landing out of this. So I'm just going to point myself towards the airport and start taking off aspects of the SAS here. And we're going to bring this helicopter home, or the old-fashioned way. Okay, looks like we are still a little bit high for approach here. I really didn't want that. I kind of hoped that'd be a little bit lower down, but I forgot to turn off the altitude hold soon enough, so now I'm going to have to compensate by pulling the nose up, losing a little bit of airspeed and dropping our vertical speed a little bit higher than I'm comfortable with. All things considered, I'm sure we'll be able to pull off this landing, so just got to bring it down nice and steep and remember to pull up on a collective when it's time. Oh, I don't know if you remember when I showed SkyVector earlier to show you the route for today. There was an orange circle around Pittsburgh International Airport. That is important because this coming weekend there will be a TFR up as we have the Wings Over Pittsburgh Air Show on the 13th and 14th of May 2017. Guess where I will be? And I might even think about doing some live streaming from the airport. So you never know. Stay tuned for that. Alright, let's land this sucker. This, my friends, is a beauty and challenge of flying a helicopter. When you land, if you've got skids, you're not exactly landing. You're just kind of approximating a landing. And then you got a hover taxi to where you can actually safely put the skids down on the ground. Which, our plan for today, I'm going to head over to the third helipad that I added to this airport, which is over by Alley in my office/hangar. So I'm going to cut the corner here. I'm going a little too fast, so you'll have to forgive me. There we go. Let's bring her down. Whoa, whoa, whoa. We don't want to touch the ground just yet. That is the only downside with having the SAS on, is it does kind of make for a little bit jerky motion. That is okay. That is perfectly fine by me. Normally I would park on this helipad, but no, we're going to continue heading down. And let me gain a little bit of altitude here. I'm sure they won't mind. And yes, I am aware that these lampposts are a little bit kind of close to the taxiway. I will fix that at some point in time. I bet you're probably wondering, why did you completely miss the helipad there, Bell? Well, I have my reasons, and I'm going to show it to you in a moment. But first, let's go ahead and get everything all turned off, and in preparation for me to put this helicopter away. Alright, Betty, front and center, please.
Landing lights. Altimeter.
Okay,
landing lights.
Let's see, landing lights. We already turned them off. Okay, I shouldn't start with this one, I don't think, but I'm going to go ahead and click it off anyway.
Landing lights. Off.
Okay, landing lights are off.
Transponder.
Transponder will put you to standby.
SBY. Throttle.
Okay, throttle will go to idle.
Idle. Anti-ice.
Go ahead and turn the horn off again.
Pitot heat.
Alright, that'll shut that up. Okay, pitot heat. We can turn you off now. There we go, and we gotta click it.
Control frictions.
Control frictions, not worried about.
Off. Left fuel boost / acceptor.
Left fuel boost transfer, we'll flip you off.
Off. Generator.
Generator, you can go off too.
Throttle. Closed.
Yep, throttle's already closed.
Fuel valve.
Fuel valve. This is how we shut off our helo properly. And the horn again. Seriously? Well, I guess I should be glad that it works at all.
Right fuel boost / acceptor.
Okay, right fuel transfer, we'll flip you off.
Off. Rotor brake.
Alright, now for the rotor brake, we have to wait until everything is below 40, which it looks like it already is, to be honest with you. So I should be able to just flip
Engage
it right
below
there.
40% rotor RPM. NG. Verify 0%.
Okay, I'm not worried about the
Position
NG
lights.
because that's already 0. Position lights we can turn off, and of course the rotor brake's in the way, so I might have
Off.
to flip that.
Anti-collision lights.
Anti-collision lights,
Off.
okay, we'll turn you off.
Transponder.
Transponder,
Off.
yes, we'll turn you
Flight
off
instrumentation.
as well. Okay, that's those 3 switches right behind the rotor brake. As I suspected, it was going to get in my way. Okay, those are all off. Click that.
All off. Avionics
switch. Flip you off.
Hydraulic
switch. Flip you
Off.
off. Okay.
Battery switch.
The battery switch is the last thing, but before I do that, let me go ahead and turn my instrument lights off, because there's nothing indicated on the checklist for it. Okay, now we turn off the battery.
Tie downs and caps.
Tie downs and caps. That is the last thing we need to do. I'm going to say that it's done, but we're going to do it after, because I have something very special in mind for us today. The last little trick that this helicopter comes with is a little cart that you can put underneath the helicopter itself to move it around. So I'm going to manually put the tie downs and caps on, or at least the tie downs anyway. I'm not so worried about the caps. We'll put those on once we get into the hangar. But I really, really want to show you this nifty little cart that Dreamfoil Creations has included with this. And that's how we're going to call it quits for this evening. Alright, so I have that set up. All our rotors are secure. Very nice, very nice. And if you click right on the front, I want to say it's the front right side, which technically would be the front left for what you're looking at there. We've got our external menu and ta-da! Ground cart. This thing is so freaking cool. I can't even tell you. Anyway, I'm going to maneuver our helicopter into the hangar over there. So while I'm doing that, I just want to thank you all, as always, for watching. This has been BelGeode. I've been flying an X-Plane 11 with the Dreamfoil Creations Bell 407. This is the version 1.01, which is currently available. Links are below. The airports that I've featured today, at least the ones that I did not create, only one of which you can find on the org site. But when the others become available, I will also let you know. Alrighty folks, if you've enjoyed what you've seen, please feel free to give me a like. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. And I'm going to go wobble this helicopter into the hangar and call this sucker done. So thanks as always for watching. Catch you on the next one. And ciao!